Welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast, proud to be the world's #1 community for brilliant childcare leaders. Each episode will feature interviews with the brightest minds in the childcare industry to guide you into becoming a smarter business leader. Our hosts have opened 10 schools while raising 5 children. They are certified business coaches and are the top-selling childcare business book authors of all time. This episode is sponsored by Elif Childcare Insurance. Give Blake a call at 972-232-2258 to get a free quote on childcare business insurance today. Let's welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast, our hosts, Brian and Carol Dupre.
Welcome to episode 44 of the Childcare Genius podcast.
We're your hosts, Brian and Carol Dupre.
We got a great episode lined up for you today. We're so excited, and we're loving doing this podcast. We love bringing content to you guys, and we're 44 episodes deep into this. We had 18 episodes in season 1, so we're almost in our 60s now, not age-wise.
Well,
although we're pretty close to that too. 60 podcast episodes under our belt, 62 now, so we're excited. We're finally getting a hang of this thing and having a good time doing it. And thank you all. We hear so many kind words from many listeners on how much they enjoy the podcast, and it really touches our hearts. To the millions of you who are watching, thank you so much. You really touch our hearts. But before we get started with the episode today, I wanted to tell you about a special we're running on our Leverage Childcare Genius Conference in Jamaica in September 18th through the 22nd, 1/8 through 2/2. We have a great conference coming in. We are dropping the price of our tickets. We have 25 tickets left to sell, and we want to get that sold out in the month of June. So we're dropping our ticket prices to $399 for one, $798 for two. We're going to do that for this week and this week only. And then the rest of the month, it's going to be $798 for 2 tickets. The single ticket price will jump back to $499. So if you want to save $100 a ticket, go to childcaregenius.com/leverage right now. I mean, this second, go do it. Buy tickets while we still have them available. Once we sell out, we are limiting to 100 businesses. And once they're sold out, they're sold out. We don't want a huge conference with thousands of people because you get lost in that. We want something small, intimate. We want to know everybody's name. We want to be able to know where your school is. We want to know everything about you. So we're trying to purposely keep our conference small. It's also an owners only conference. Leave your director at home. We're going to teach stuff that you will not learn at any other conference. Because when you go to a normal conference, there's directors in the room. So guess what? They can't teach content that's owner related. You know, we can't talk about profit and loss and diversification of real estate and wealth creation and asset management. You can't teach that stuff in a normal conference, but we're going to cover it because we're doing an owners only conference. We're not doing any sales pitches our entire conference. So leave your wallet at home. Plus, it's an all-inclusive hotel. You can't spend money there anyway. Even tips are included. So once you come there, just leave your wallet at home. We're not going to ask you for anything. We're not going to try to upsell you anything at all. That's just not the kind of conference that we're trying to put on. We only have 4-hour coaching days. The rest of the day, you're by the pool. And guess what we're going to have? Poolside coaching. We're going to teach you by the pool. The speakers that speak during the day are going to be by the pool in the afternoon, and you get to go up to them, talk to them, anything you want. And we're going to do that every single afternoon. And the whole trip is tax deductible. Another good thing. Who wants to pay money, wants to pay lots of taxes? So save some money on your taxes. And we're not going to have any vendors walking around trying to sell you things as well, because we don't allow vendors. Now, vendors make us a conference much more profitable. We're actually running this conference at a loss. We're not trying to make money on it. We're trying to break even on the conference because we just want to bring value and content to the industry. Other people put on conferences that make hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars. We're not after your money. We're after education and helping you. So that's what we're doing. And childcaregenius.com/leverage. And we hope you'll join us in Jamaica. We'll be by the pool ourselves. We'll be by the bar. We'll be probably by the bar every night. Be a long day. But we want to hang out. We want to get to know you. And we'll probably share a meal together, maybe a coffee together. We'll get to know you guys. And we're looking forward to that time. So our guest today on the podcast is Lynn Wenger. Lynn works for One Place Childcare and specializes in helping childcare centers with systems and compliance issues. Now, we've used One Place for quite a while at our centers, and you like it?
Love it.
Love it.
Love it.
And we can't wait to talk a little bit about what One Place does and how they help center owners with compliance issues and lists and systems, all things that we've been teaching our clients for years. And I think they're going to enjoy this episode.
Yeah. So let's get Lynn on the line. Hello, Lynn. Welcome to the Childcare Genius podcast.
Hi, Lynn.
Hi, it's great to see you both.
Good to have you
too.
on. Geez, we've been trying to get you on for a little while now, and finally our schedules synced up. So we're so happy to have you on. We're excited.
Yeah.
And so you're down in the lovely state of where? Where are you located?
I'm based in New Hampshire, in Sunapee, New Hampshire. Most people don't know where that is, so I say the greater Boston area, but Sunapee, New Hampshire is in a beautiful lakes region. So you know all about that living where you live. So I'm in Sunapee, New Hampshire. It's lakes and mountains and about an hour and a half, 2 hours north of Boston, hour and a half to the seacoast. And we've got the best of both worlds here.
And about 3 hours south of us.
Yep.
And fun fact, a lot of people don't know this, but Maine is the only state that borders only one U.S. state. And we border New Hampshire. That's the only U.S. state. We actually border 2 Canadian provinces, but only one U.S. state.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
fun
Okay, I
fact,
didn't know
we-
about the Canadian, New Hampshire for
Yeah.
sure, but that's interesting.
Yeah, we border Quebec to our west and New Brunswick to our east, right down the middle. And then New Hampshire to our south. So yeah, we're the only state that has one other state that we border. Of course, Alaska only borders one other Canadian province, but they don't border any other state. So interesting fact.
Yep.
But anyway, it's good to have you close. And we met a while back at a conference, and we have kept in touch ever since. We love your product. We started using your company several months ago, and Carol raves about it and loves it. We have clients that have been raving about you for years. We thought we'd bring you on and talk a little bit about compliance issues, talk a little bit about systems, and see why people are bragging so much about you and your company. So
So can you tell us a little bit about your background, how you got into the early childhood business, and a little about the amazing company that you work for?
Well, I would love to share about that. So my background, unlike probably every other guest that you speak with, I am 5 years new to early education. My background is systems and processes and continuous improvement. So the intersection of compliance and best practice, which is what One Place Childcare does, it was a natural marriage. So for me, I've been a business owner. I've been part of companies that were taken public, one successful, one that was not successful. So really looking at early education from a broad business perspective, and then drilling down around systems and processes. So over the past 5 years, I have been drinking from the fire hose of early education best practice. And one of my personal core values is curiosity. And when you get an owner or a director, or however it happens to work out, but when you ask them to teach you, they're willing to do it because that's what you do by nature. So I've been learning a lot, and we'll share some of that in today's episode.
Great.
Awesome. So how do you approach the task of identifying areas in a childcare program that could benefit from systemization and process improvement? Because I know there's a lot of systems in childcare, and there's a lot of areas where a lot of our centers can be improved. And so how does somebody begin that process?
Sure. So I think it's important, Brian and Carol, that we set the landscape. So I kind of do this by what we're not, One Place Childcare or this area, whether or not you're using One Place Childcare. So what we're not is center management, billing, attendance, food program. That's the side of the house that has a lot of systems that are out there. So that's not the area that we're talking about. The area that we're talking about are those things that probably fall into a couple of different categories. One is the original owner has the knowledge about what systems need to be in place that ensure that quality is being met, that standards are being met, that your brand, your baby is being managed at the teacher level, at the classroom level, at the school level, especially if you're multi-site. So it's really taking and digitizing that part of the business. And we'll talk a little bit more. I know you have some questions around compliance, so I'll leave that there. But it's really looking at don't just leave those things on paper, because it actually creates a liability, and it also creates a place where you can market it if you do a good job at identifying and marketing how you manage your systems on that side of the house, especially.
Awesome. Love that.
Yes. And kind of like you said, don't leave it on paper. Documentation is a critical aspect of effective systems. What are some essential documents and records that childcare businesses should have in place? And how can they ensure that these documents are kept up to date and easily accessible?
Accessibility, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Licensing is going to want to see those. So how
Right.
do we make them easily accessible?
Okay. So the industry at large has their systems and processes in this area of checklists. We're going to talk about checklists as a key element, but think of checklists as any form or system or form or process that you want to have digital. So if you think about, we're going to get out of ECE for a second. If you think about a surgeon and if you think about a pilot, they have checklists, even though they do the same thing day in and day out.
Mhm.
Why do they do that? For several reasons. One is to make sure nothing is overlooked, even if it's routine, but also if there is a crisis, they've taken care of the things that need to be in place to manage any type of crisis or unforeseen issue. In early education, what astounded me when I first, again, coming from the business background and asking lots of questions is, how do you do this today? And when I polled early education owners and providers, they said, today we have a checklist, but it's on paper on a clipboard as a reminder of what needs to be done. 50% would say that. And roughly equally split, another 25 would say, we have it on a piece of paper and then we put it in a binder. And I'm going to pull up my little prop here. But we talk about our binders have blinders. If you wanted to find something in here, where would you go? Like if you needed to look at where the best practice was or how you completed it. And then the last piece that I want to mention is the other 25%, they don't document it because they simply know what to do. What could possibly go wrong if you're not documenting, right? If you just know what to do. So with that in mind, what we're looking at is documentation. The areas that I see are the highest priority. And I know, Carol, you and I could go way down this rabbit hole, but if I had to pick my top three, it's licensing preparedness, because somebody's going to come announced or unannounced, hello, and they're going to be looking for certain things. So licensing preparedness, how do you stay prepared versus the frenzy of getting prepared? And even though this is a subset of licensing, but injuries and incidents on staff and children, having that well documented so that if there is a citation or a claim, you have it well documented and you can pull it up, at your fingertips. And then I would probably say the last part of that would be around paperwork, staff paperwork, and making sure that you're keeping on top of what's up for renewal. How do you manage and track that? So with One Place Childcare, having it in a digital environment, documentation is key, but the ability, if you have it digital in a place that you can just pull it up, then you can easily access it for the appropriate authority or just for your own internal purposes. Did that answer the question?
Yes.
Yeah, and licensing is important. And since every state is different, you're probably dealing with 50 different licensing bodies and 50 different sets of rules. And how do we make sure that, our centers that we work with, how do you make sure that they are compliant? Is there a certain, how do you work within those different state regulations?
Sure. We have, for all 50 states, we have the licensing inspection checklist in One Place. So if you're a One Place customer, then you will have that as part of the best practice toolkit so that you're doing audits for your particular state. If you're not using One Place, you can still go onto the website and of course, what they're looking for, but it's that whole staying prepared versus getting prepared. So we have that in One Place. And that's one of our best practices is be inspecting several of those key areas on sometimes a weekly basis, at a minimum, a monthly basis, that you're inspecting those areas, your playground, your transportation, if you have a food program, certainly documentation, but those are the things. You can get it from your state, but we have it in One Place as well.
Love that.
Yeah, definitely. If someone wanted to learn more about One Place, how would they get a hold of you?
So we are oneplacechildcare.com. It's the number one. So it's oneplacechildcare.com. And you can see the methods, you can see case studies, you can see all the different ways that we are working with clients. That's a great place to start. And if you want to meet one-on-one with us to talk about your particular needs, what types of systems or procedures you're looking at automating and digitizing, then we can have that exploratory discovery call.
Yeah, we'll say we've used One Place for quite a while and we love it. It's definitely made our lives easier. We beta tested at one center, then we rolled it out to the other centers. And again, we don't ever have somebody on that we don't personally use the product. So we could personally say that it has worked. And we've had dozens of clients come to us and say how great it is working with you guys. So I've never heard a bad thing about One Place, and we got to meet your owner when we were in Utah. He's a great guy, and we know you, and you're wonderful as well. So we definitely can promote your product without any what's the word I'm looking for, hindrance, or without any, I don't know,
hesitation. Just
that's it. Without any hesitation.
You vetted us out, but would it be fair for me just to pose another question, or just leave the audience thinking about this as we're wrapping up here? Is one of my favorite questions for everybody to ask themselves is, this is how I'm doing it today. If I had it digital, what would be better or different? And how would I know? And how will I measure it? And what am I looking for? So what will be better or different? And then you can do that on a cadence of in a month or 6 months or a year, but you're not just digitizing for the sake of going from paper to digital. You're digitizing so that you know what's going to be better or different, and how will you analyze that and measure it so that you can continue to digitize other parts of your business. This is not a one and done. This is really about quality and continuous improvement. So I just wanted to put that highlight on there, because sometimes there's this thought of, well, I already have it on a checklist. If it's working, then why would I want to digitize it? Digitizing is just the first step so that you can use that data to begin to look at where your gaps are, where are the inconsistencies, how do you build an accountability? So it's so much more than just digitizing, but that's where we start. That's the building block.
One of the problems we had before One Place is we had checklists, just nobody used them. Yes. And we'd go into the center and realize that, okay, this floor wasn't swept, this checklist wasn't done, this thing wasn't locked up, and we didn't have the accountability piece because, and you have no record. You got to dig through all this paper, find out where the paper is. Papers get lost, mice eat them up. They get nasty, and things happen. And all of a sudden, licensing comes in and your paperwork's a mess and you can't find things. And we found out that once you get these things digitized, it makes it a whole lot easier to find, and you can call stuff up a whole lot quicker. So when wrapping up, we like to ask a mindset question, because that mindset is very important. So what do you do to relax and unwind? Where's your happy place?
Well, because I live, as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, I live in an area where there's mountains and lakes. So all you have to do is look out the window. I'm looking right now at a lake, and we have the 4 seasons. So I start my day with a thankful mindset. I have devotion times where I get up early and just appreciate what I have and what's around me. And another key piece of this is, I mentioned earlier, one of my core values is curiosity. So I start my day saying, I wonder who I'm going to meet today, though I have schedules, and what will I learn about that person, and how can I encourage them? So starting with a mindset of abundance and curiosity, and how can you encourage somebody? Because we all need that.
Love that. It's a good way to start your day. And I look at a lake every morning too, and there's nothing like looking at a lake at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day to put you in the right frame of mind. Something about the water.
This is true. We agree.
And Memorial Day weekend, I'm going to be seeing a whole lot of it.
Yeah.
Good. Do you have your boat in yet?
The boat has been in for a couple weeks, and we'll be the week after the ice was out, the boat was in.
No kidding.
Yeah,
and swim lessons start soon. So the ice is out, swim lessons start soon.
Well, the water's still in the 50s, so it'll probably be a couple more weeks before it gets swimmable. It's still pretty cold, but we'll get there eventually.
Good.
Thanks a lot for coming on today and sharing your wisdom with our audience. And if they could reach out to you at the number one place.com, and it'll be money well invested into your business for sure.
Thank you. Appreciate being here today.
Yeah. Have a great day. Thank you, Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was informative.
Yes, it really was. And she is so nice.
She is. I love Lynn, and she's so great. And I've met the owner of the company Marty, and he's great. We met him in Utah, and they have a great company. You know, they started in New Zealand, and now they're worldwide, and they can really help childcare center owners. So we highly endorse them and highly promote them as well. And we only endorse and promote companies that we actually use ourselves. So we will never promote a product or service on here that we don't actually purposely use ourselves. We don't just take money from anybody. And we didn't take any money for Lynn for this product endorsement. Not at all, not a penny. We don't do that. So if we promote you, we do it for free. And if you're a center owner and need help in your childcare business and would like a free coaching call with me to help you in any area of your business that you're struggling in, just visit our website at childcaregenius.com. Under the coaching tab, select a free coaching call. I do about 10 of these a month for center owners only. And you're guaranteed to come away with 2 to 3 action items that could help you with, whether it be profit, whether it be staffing levels, whether it be accreditation, you want to talk about compliance, systems, whatever they need help with, I can help you out. So please feel free to join childcaregenius.com childcaregenius.com, go to the coaching tab and select free coaching call. And this concludes episode 44 of the Childcare Genius podcast. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
And just a reminder to hit the subscribe button so you won't miss a future episode of the Childcare Genius podcast. And we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Childcare Genius podcast. If you enjoyed the show, please do us a favor and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a future episode. Don't forget to visit our website at childcaregenius.com to see a list of services we offer to help grow your childcare business. Until next time, thank you for being a part of the Childcare Genius community.